This is a typical village market. The impacts, 2.1 million poor families in Asia and Africa, just on this one product, invested more than $50 million of their own money in treadle pumps and increased their net income by $210 million a year forever. And once they get on this path, they reinvest and increase their income some more. Now I want to show you this drip irrigation system. Oh, wait a minute, I stole the punchline. Can you guys explain what this is?
It's a drip irrigation system.
Oh, thank you. Did you have much trouble figuring it out?
There was a good design on the instructions.
Yeah.
And we've got these plants in these rows. You can't see them, but they're there.
Yeah.
They're small. They're just beginning. And I'm not sure about these things, but it looks to me like they may be something we'll put in there to let it drip out of that, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yes.
Yeah. And we need some holes in there, but that hasn't been done yet.
Yes. Included in that drip kit is a little punch. So you punch your own holes and you put those in there.
Maybe used a hot needle. I don't know.
Yeah. This is the simple way that we ended up. And this holds about a bucket of water, and you put it on a post. And so when women are carrying water to the house, they carry a couple of extra buckets. This will irrigate a kitchen garden, improve the nutrition of the family. It costs, the total retail cost is $3, and it'll earn $10 in addition to improving the nutrition of the family. And from that drip system, you can go all the way up to 5 acres. So a drip system for 1 acre costs $160 retail, which is about 1/6 of the cost of normal drip irrigation. Very simple system, it doesn't clog, and this is an example of both the design and the affordable irrigation that's needed. This is an example of a low-cost water storage system. It costs $40 to store 10,000 liters. It's like a large, hefty bag. It's 1 meter in diameter, 10 meters long, 3.5 feet by 33 feet. And it sits in an earthen trench, so you can make the walls fairly thin to get the price down. We've got another one of these that'll hold enough water to drip irrigate a 1/4 acre and add $500 in income. That'll cost $400, but you have to work your way up. So you work your way up in steps. Here is IDE's impact, total impact over 25 years. We have received $78 million in donor funds, which we've used primarily to establish private sector supply chains. Farmers, dollar-a-day people have invested $139 million altogether of their own money, and they are now earning $288 million a year net after expenses, and it keeps going up. This is a typical village in Nepal. This is how they spend their money. Biggest item for that village was food, but it's fairly typical. They reinvest in farming, they invest in education of their kids. It's very high priority. Clothing, and my experience in talking to farmers, fixing their house up is higher than here. Festivals is high, and health. So here's how they spend their money. The new organization I started is called D-Rev, for Design Revolution. One of the main things it does is we're working on 4 global businesses that will make a ton of money serving poor customers and demonstrate to multinationals that this is a virgin market waiting to be tapped, which is the way that a big impact can be made. This is a design course we developed at Stanford at the design school, and these are students in business and engineering and the humanities. 40 students every year, and they go out and talk to the farmers. This is David Klaus, who's one of those students operating a sprinkling system in Myanmar. This is the way people actually bring the water to their crops. So then they designed an improved irrigation system after talking to the people. So they divide into multidisciplinary teams. All it takes is one person with a dream, and I think there are many of those kinds of people sitting here today. Thank you very much. And now we'll have a chance for some discussion.
Don't these countries already have over 100 inches of rain per year? And isn't that soil kind of moist anyway?
A lot of these countries have a lot of rain. Why do they need irrigation? And in a sense, that's like, you know, the United States has plenty of rainfall. Tell that to a farmer in Arizona. The problem with water for crops is not national, it's local and seasonal. So if you take Bangladesh, for instance, they get flooded out there. Most of the country is in what would be a flood zone and unbuildable in this country. But every winter there is a dry season when there isn't enough rain for their crops. So they grow two crops in the rainy season, and in the dry season they don't grow very much. It's the time of the year, not the total amount, that's important.
Do you hope that government or are governments involved in supporting this with their funds?
My suggestion in the book is that we stop putting most of our money through governments. It's a good idea, it has failed. We should put 80% of the money directly to anybody, any organization who can show measurable impact and scalability for the poor.
I don't know the culture there. I can't imagine living on $1 a day. And I can't imagine what the impact would be of moving from $1 a day to $2 a day.
If you help a family that is surviving on $300 a year, US, to increase their income to $800 a year, US, in the context of those cultures, they've moved into the middle class.
With people earning no more than $1 a day, how initially can they save money to put the, was it $5 into purchasing this?
I mentioned in the movie about the dowries, but they're not going to touch that money unless it's absolutely bulletproof. So a lot of people, the way treadle pumps get popular is first the richer farmers buy them who can afford to. Then they have cousins and good friends who watch what happens to them for 2 years. And after they're sure that they can, that it's not a risk, they'll buy a treadle pump. If you can earn $100 from a $25 investment, you can, in an emergency, borrow the money from a moneylender, pay the 100% interest, and have money left over.
Who are they selling? Who are these farmers selling the increased production to?
The increased production usually goes to richer people within a culture. But if you take Bangladesh, everybody in Bangladesh eats a lot of vegetables. Poor people can't afford too many, so there's a huge market in Dhaka, the capital city, for vegetables.
I'm just kind of wondering how the dynamics work overall in terms of wealth creation for the country as a whole, potentially, versus, you know, taking money out of poor people in the urban areas to buy the products from the poor people in the rural area.
If you have, I think it was $150 million a year net, that's maybe 300 million gross, and it's $1 billion a year impact on the whole economy. That's as big an impact just from treadle pumps in Bangladesh as the garment industry is.
Have you thought about forming, or have you formed a microcredit program yourself within IDE to help farmers?
We decided that it's a whole discipline in itself, banking is, so we rather encourage the development of microcredit with other organizations that make credit available, but we haven't been all that successful in that either. But it would take a whole microcredit arm to get microcredit to the rural areas, because microcredit is disproportionately concentrated in urban and peri-urban areas where they can get the loan volume that make them close to being self-sufficient. So, thank you very much, and thank you for these good questions. I appreciate you inviting me.